Hi, this is All Music and All Bands, and we're talking with Tony Cavazo, bassist from Hurricane, Aeromyth, Snow and Quiet Riot. Thanks for taking the time to conduct this interview.
Hey, Robert, how are you today?
Doing very good. For those unfamiliar with yourself and the bands you've played with, would you give us some background?
Well, in the early days, I played with my brother Carlos Cavazo of Quiet Riot fame and Rat fame in the band Snow. And we just released the Best of Snow last July and in 2017. It's a 2-album set, and it's available online, I think, on Amazon.com. And the name of the record is called Snow at Last. And it has a live show that we did in 1981 at the Starwood in Hollywood, California. And then it has a bunch of rough tracks that we recorded in our own home studio that sound, reasonably good. And then it has the 5-song EP that we released as well back in the early 80s. But that's where I started with Snow, and then when Snow disbanded, I ended up playing with Kevin Dubrow in Quiet Riot. It wasn't really called Quiet Riot at the time; it was just called Dubrow, which was the same lineup as it was in the Quiet Riot fame, except for Rudy, Rudy Sarzo, and I was playing bass instead. And then I was going to do that gig, and then Randy unfortunately got killed in his plane crash.
Yeah.
And Randy Rhoads, that is, with Ozzy. And Rudy wanted to come back. He didn't want to do it without Randy. And I understand that. Him and Randy were like brothers. So he came back, and I went away. It was his gig to begin with anyway, and I was just kind of filling in. And that's when I met Robert Sarzo. As a matter of fact, the late Kevin Dubrow, bless his heart, he introduced me to Robert. He told me he's Rudy's younger brother. And Robert and I, we hit it off really well. And we talked about getting together and jamming and writing some songs, and that's exactly what we did. And the first album that we put out, Hurricane Take What You Want record, was actually a 5-song EP. I was all Robert and me, and then we found Kelly Hansen and Jay Shellen to play drums on it, and and Kelly to sing, of course, who now sings with Foreigner. And we came up with that record and did 3 albums and 3 world tours, and then that band disbanded, and I've just been kind of hanging low for a while, and started dabbling around with Hurricane again, me and Robert with a different lineup, and Snow as well. Carlos, and I, wanted to get something going with that upon the release of our 2-record CD. And so I've been doing that, but really most of my time is tied up with this Aeromyth thing. It's a tribute band to Aerosmith. And I'm touring all over the place with those guys, and it's great. It's a fun gig. I get to play Aerosmith songs, which are killer songs, and the guys in the band are real cool. I enjoy hanging with them, and the crowds are great. Money's great. It's all good. And the way I look at it is a lot of people, not everybody, they frown on tribute bands, but that's just the state of the music industry these days. There's really no industry. You used to be able to release an album and you could get airplay, and they don't do that anymore. The only bands that are doing that are famous bands that are already famous. They're doing that, but an up and coming band or a smaller band, they don't have a chance. You're going to be playing clubs your whole life, and that's just the way it is right now. And I'm hoping that some young act will come out and take the music industry by storm and rebuild it. They'll lead the way. And in my opinion, that Greta Van Fleet band, I don't know if you've heard of them, those guys are really good. And they could be the band that could do that. and that's what the industry needs. They need a band, a young band that sounds great, that's kick-ass hard rock music, and to come out and start selling records, and that'll rebuild the freaking industry.
Oh, there's a big buzz around them. There's a big buzz around them. I'll tell you that.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I've seen a lot of their stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. It's great. They're really accomplished musicians. And they look good and they sound good. They're just really good. So I'm hoping that happens. But the problem is they're young. That's the thing, and that's what the industry's looking for these days. Or if there is, they go for like Taylor Swift type people, younger people. And these guys are young, which they can do it. They can build a hard rock scene back up again. And a guy that's been around forever like me, they don't even look at a guy like me. But so the next best thing is a tribute thing. And what I was saying is a lot of people frown on that, but the way I look at it, it's a gig. I'm a professional musician, and that's what I do for a living. And you go where the money is, just like any other job. And it's a lot better than playing in a cover band, which I did that for years too, and the money's a lot better. So, I mean, no matter what you do, you're paying tribute to somebody. Unless you write your own music and you sing your own music, you're paying tribute to somebody. So, it's just the way it is. And I've gotten some, bad Facebook posts and stuff like that. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And I just explained to them, look, I got bills to pay. I got a family to feed. I got all this stuff, and car payments and everything. And I got to, it sure beats swinging a hammer. That's what I told them, So if they don't understand that, then that's too bad. I'm not going to just let one or two guys frown on me for trying to, make some money and to keep my head above water. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And, so it started with Snow, ended up with Hurricane. And, I did a couple stints with a band called Danger Face and a country band called Sacred Cowboys, which was really good. And then, Hurricane a little bit and then Snow. And then for the last 5 years, I've been touring with Aeromyth. And, as a tribute artist, and it's cool. It's fun. I like it a lot.
Well, as long as you're having fun doing it, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, the crowds are great. I'm surprised. I never thought that being in a tribute band would be this fun, and the crowds would be this good. When we play we just played 2 weeks ago. We did a 5-gig run in Southern California and Arizona. We're just in that part of the country. And every place we played was packed. And we played some big outdoor festival parks. And there was a minimum of 2,000 to 3,000, some 4,000 people there. And, and that's great for a tribute band. And then we, got on a plane and flew here to New Hampshire. We're going to be here for 2 months doing this residency at Canopy Lake Park. And we'll be done with this on August 26th. And we go home from there, and then we got to, go out on another run of shows. So it's not going to stop, We got a whole bunch of shows lined up going into the end of the year. So that's where I'm at. And, now if you have anything else you want to ask me or whatever, I'm open for questions. So.
All right. Is there going to be a follow-up to Hurricane's CD for Liquid Fury?
Okay, that Liquid Fury was a great record, but that was really Kelly Hansen and Jay Shellen's record. Robert and I didn't have anything to do with that record. That's what they did. What we're doing right now is we're producing a video that we're going to release. It's just going to be a video. An album, everybody's just so busy to get in there and record, the current lineup that we have, everybody's a working musician, we're all busy. Robert, he's touring with Idol X. It's a Billy Idol tribute band right now. And he's going to be up here in Canopy Lake in September. So it's like one guy gets home, and as soon as that guy gets home, another guy leaves. So to get everybody in one place to sit down and write an album and record it, it's like trying to get the stars to line up. It's just impossible. And, you know, we got a good lineup right now. We got, you know, Mike Hansen on drums and a guy named Chad Cancino on vocals. And this, you know, those guys are really, really good musicians. Both of them are. And, you know, we kind of dabbled around and started writing some stuff a while back, but nothing ever became it. We recorded it, but it's kind of on a standstill because everybody's just too busy trying to make a living. That's what it is, you know. And that's where we're at. But we do have a video that's going to be coming out on Facebook pretty soon in the next couple of months. It's not one of our songs. It's a cover song. I don't want to mention any names or anything like that, but it's a cover song. We're redoing a cover song. And it sounds really good. It's phenomenal. So it's our version of it. You'll hear it. It'll be out on Facebook. You'll get to check it out pretty soon.
Yeah, what was these? You know, what's it like working with your brother Carlos in the band Snow, and then you know, all the other projects that you've worked with him?
The only project and band that I was in with Carlos was the short stint I did with Kevin DuBrow and him and Frankie Benelli. And Snow, Snow was a band for like 6-7 years, and we were, you know, a pretty substantial local band in the LA area. We used to sell out every place we played. Yeah, but that was back in the late 70s and early 80s when people would come out to the shows, you know, and it's hard to get people to come out these days. I guess because they can just see it on YouTube or whatever and watch videos and stuff, and it makes it a lot easier for them, which is understandable. Plus, it's the age of people that went to those shows. They're like in their 50s, some even in their 60s, and they don't want to go out anymore. They've done it, and so they'd rather just stay home and watch Axis on TV and watch bands on TV and watch videos and buy the videos at the store and watch them, you know. And that's where, in my opinion, that's what I think is going on with people that used to go out. It used to be easy to go out, but now it's a lot more difficult. So
yes, it is a little difficult to go out the older you get. How much you contribute to the songwriting or choosing the set list for any of the shows that you've performed?
Well, I leave that up to the lead singer of the band. You know, it depends on his vocal ability at the time, because, you know, singing is a natural thing. It's not like playing a guitar or drums where you can just play and it doesn't matter how you feel, it'll still sound the same. But a vocalist, if they're having a hoarse voice, you know, they may not be able to pull it off that night. So we change the set accordingly. You know, it's hard, you know, being a singer. Singer's the roughest part of any band. It's hard. You know, you're running around, you're running out of breath, and you got to sing all these parts, and you got to remember all these lyrics, and it's just crazy. You know, I mean, I couldn't. That's why I'm not a lead singer. I couldn't do it. I couldn't remember the lyrics, and I'd be winded. I couldn't sing, and I just do backing vocals, and that's good enough for me. So I actually leave it up to the lead singer, and he puts the set list together, no matter what band I'm playing with.
What have been some of your favorite tours or favorite shows that you've played with?
The favorite show?
Favorite show or favorite tour?
I liked a lot of the Snow shows. You know, Snow was for me, I felt really natural playing in that band. It was easy, and it just flowed. It was natural. Hurricane was a little harder. I had to think a little bit more about what I was doing. And Aeromyth now, you know, it's becoming a natural thing, you know, because I've learned the songs and I've played them so much that it's muscle memory. I can just pretty much do it without too much hesitation. They give me the set list, and I listen to the songs the day before, and I go for it, you know. I just want to remind myself of the arrangements and things like that. And I just go for it, and we never rehearse. We just kind of go for it. The band, it always sounds good.
If you had the time to choose another side project, what musicians would you like to get involved with?
I like blues-based kind of stuff. That's why I like the Aeromyth thing, because it's kind of blues-based. It's like I like bands like Black Crowes. I love the Stones. I like bands like that. And in the heavy metal realm, I would want to be in a Black Sabbath kind of a band. Because I've always loved Geezer Butler, and he's like one of my idols. I listened to him a lot when I was growing up, and a lot of people, when I play in original songs, they compare me to him, and that to me is an honor, because he's the shit. He's the guy, that I looked up to. And, he, in my opinion, he's the best heavy metal bass player there is out there.
With all the bands that you've played with, which one have been your favorite and why?
Of all the bands, for me, I like the bands that are the easiest for me to play with. I would say the hardest one would probably be Hurricane. Snow was easier than Hurricane to play with, even though the music sounded hard, but it was just a natural thing for me to be able to play that kind of music. And Aeromyth, of course, I've heard the songs for years, and it's easy for me to do that. But most of the cover stuff that I play, like Aeromyth or Aerosmith or any of it, I've played in many cover bands. That all comes pretty easy to me, playing other people's songs like that. It's really easy. I just listen to it and I can just play it. I don't even have to really go over it that much. I just kind of, as long as I know the arrangement and what key it is, I'm good. I can get through it. So, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Hurricanes was a lot harder. That was the hardest band I've ever played with, because I had to really think. Especially the third record, the Slave to the Thrill record. That was a really difficult record for me.
Who have been your influences throughout the years?
I've had many. I've had, of course I mentioned Geezer Butler, but my first influence was probably Paul McCartney. And then I listened to, I got into Jimi Hendrix for a while, and I listened to Billy Cox in the Band of Gypsies, and I really loved the way he played. And then I started listening to some kind of, hardcore jazzy stuff like Mahavishnu Orchestra and stuff like that. And I got into Rick Laird, that's who their bass player was, Rick Laird, and that guy's phenomenal. And then, in the later years, I listened to The Who, John Entwistle, and I listened to, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. I listened to Billy Sheehan, of course, which I could never play like that, but, he's great, and, I listened to, Flea. Flea's a good player. I love the way he plays. I listen to Jocko. I listen to all the greats, I want to see what they're doing and try to emulate my way of doing what they're doing. And, it works out really good for me. I know enough about bass playing, and to me, I'm a kind of a natural player, and I can play the licks and do all that kind of stuff. I don't do too much of a slap style, but I'm an old school kind of player, and it's really a natural thing for me to do. Me playing bass, is like walking or sleeping or riding a bike. You just get on it and do it,
Could you please tell us about your time in Quiet Riot?
Well, what happened was, when Snow broke up, Randy was on the road with Ozzy. Rudy was on the road with Ozzy at the time. And Kevin was recording an album, the Mental Health album. And, he called Carlos one day, and they went in there. Carlos was just going to go in there and record on the album, and that was going to be it. Because Kevin always felt that Randy was going to come back, and he wanted to record an album and just kind of start shopping it around. That was the Mental Health record. and they needed a bass player. They called me into the studio. I went in and did some stuff with them, and during that time, that's when Randy got killed, and Rudy came back and he finished the record. I did some stuff on it. All my tracks weren't on the record, as far as I know, but I did get songwriting credit on it. I co-wrote "Bang Your Head" with the guys, with Carlos. Actually, that was an old Snow song that had different lyrics and a different title, but it's basically "Bang Your Head," and that was an old Snow song that I wrote, and that's when I got the credit on it. Kevin called me one day and he asked if he could use that song because he really liked it, and I said, "Yeah, just give me a piece of the pie." And he goes, "Oh, definitely." So I got it, and to this day I still make money off that song. So it was a smart decision for me to let him play it. I didn't have any problem with letting it go on that record. I wasn't even in a band at the time because Snow was done, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was kind of sitting there thinking, what am I going to do now? I've been in this band for 8 years and I haven't had a job, I haven't done anything, so, what am I going to do, But I ended up in other bands pretty quick.
Would there ever be a one-off reunion with the original Hurricane?
I don't think that'll ever happen. Jay, our drummer, he's out with Yes right now. He's touring with Yes, and that's the kind of drummer he is. He loves playing that kind of stuff, and he's really good at it. Kelly Hansen, he's, touring with Foreigner, and that's pretty much nonstop. And that would be the only way that would happen is if both those guys disbanded and Hurricane started getting a buzz and touring and maybe a new album that was doing well. But we'd have to get those guys to come perform on the album, and I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. There's too much at stake for those guys, to come back and do the Hurricane record. And to be honest with you, I don't think Mick Jones would let Kelly Hansen come back and sing on our record. He wouldn't like that. So, and Jay, he would do it. I think he would do it, but I don't know about Kelly. I saw Kelly not too long ago at the NAMM show, and it was really nice to see him. We used to, hang together all the time, and we were good friends. We were brothers, and it was nice to see him. I hadn't seen him in a few years, and it was really good to see him. We had a good chat, and he's doing well. He's happy for me that I'm doing my thing with this Aeromyth thing. He goes, "You're doing great. I see your guys post all the time. It freaking looks great, and so that's good. He was happy for me.
Any
I felt good about it.
Oh yeah, to see someone that you used to play with for all those years, and
sure,
to rekindle and relive old memories.
And that's what we do, And I talk to Robert all the time on the phone. We talk maybe at least once a month, and we talk about a lot of stuff. But right now there's just no interest in what Hurricane is doing, and that's what we're waiting for, this video. If we get this video released, it's being mixed and edited and all that kind of stuff right now. Once we get that going, it might generate interest. If it does, great. If it don't, then we'll play that hand when we get to it. But it may not happen. I don't know. And Robert has already moved on, and I've moved on, and but we'll always have our good times with Hurricane behind us, and we love each other for that. So we've been through a lot of shit together, Robert and I.
What would you say would be the highlights of your musical career?
I would say the highlight of my musical career was with Hurricane, and when we were going to Japan, and we went to Japan a couple of times, and that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun at the same time. And I was there for 12 days both times, just touring all over the country, on the bullet train and flying everywhere. And it was really cool. The people in Japan were just very gracious. They really treated us really good. But the thing is, everything is done by by the clock. You know, if they say that you got to, you know, they're going to be knocking on your door to leave at 7:37 in the morning, you got to be ready to go at 7:37. And they knock on the door exactly 7:37. They're very precise that way. And that they run that country like clockwork. And I think most of the people in the businesses that are run the same way. It's like clockwork. And, but that's what makes Japanese and the Japanese people so special, because, you know, they're so organized. Everything's like so organized over there, much more than what we have here in our country.
What other interests do you have outside of music?
Well, you know, I like, you know, race cars. You know, I don't have one or monkey around with them that much, but I like to look at them and, you know, go to car shows and, you know, look. And I play a lot of car shows sometimes, and I see the cars and I just kind of melt over them. You know, they're so beautiful, especially vintage American cars. I love that. You know, muscle cars and things like that. And, you know, I like, I love my kids, of course, and I do stuff with them. And, you know, I like to dabble around with, woodworking. You know, I'm a experienced journeyman carpenter as well. And I can, you know, do a lot of stuff with all my tools and build things and do stuff like that. I like doing that. I don't like to be rushed doing it. I like to do it on my own time. So if I do work for it, you know, I do it on my own time. I don't, you know, I get people wanting me to build stuff for them or go with them to work and, you know, do things around doors and, you know, like install doors or whatever. And I know how to do all that in a new house, and it's easy for me. I do it in my sleep, but, I don't want to be rushed doing it. You know, I go in at 10 o'clock and I leave at 2. I'm not going to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's no freaking way, man. And I tell them that. If you want to go to work, you go to work at 6. I'll be there at 10. Okay. You know, they don't care. As long as you get the job done, that's all I care about. Oh, it'll be done. So that's where I'm at on that. I'm not a morning person. You know, I get up, you know, 8 o'clock. That's my normal time, and that's early for me. Later than that on a gig night, if I don't get home till really late. So, but this time change, it's kind of screwed me up for, you know, a couple of weeks. You know, I'm used to West Coast time, and here I am, you know, East Coast time, and it's different.
Oh,
I'm getting used to it. But the worst was going to Japan, where they have, I think, a 12-hour turnaround. Oh my God, I was woozy the whole time I was there. And that was pretty rough. You know, you're playing a gig and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. It's just weird, different. You got to get used to their hours. A lot of bands go there a couple of days ahead of time and just, you know, get used to it.
Yeah, that's the 12-hour time zone differences.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I haven't asked that you'd like to talk about?
My future, we can talk a little bit about my future. The future's unknown right now. I'm going to play as long as I can. I'm going to play, more than likely, I'll play until I keel over and croak. You know, I'm not going to ever quit playing. And, I might quit doing other stuff, but not playing. I love to play too much. It's what I was made to do, and I'm going to do it as long as I can. And, if I can't do it anymore, that's because I'm dead. You know, my future right now, it lies with Aeromyth, because that's the best option I have. And, it's a great band, and the future's bright, you know, for us. You know, the real Aerosmith is, you know, they're probably going to be retiring in the next year or 2 years. And, they're already kind of semi-retired. They may still play a few shows here and there, but they're not like they used to be, not touring-wise anyway. And, you know, those guys are all in their 70s, you know, so how long can they go? How long do they want to go? Put it that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. When I'm in my 70s, I'll still want to play. I'll still want to tour if I can do it, if my health holds up and stuff like that. You know, that's what I worry about. I try to eat and take care of myself as much as I can, go to the gym, things like that. and just to stay healthy. So all good.
What's the best way to keep up with What's the best way to keep up with all the upcoming shows that you got booked?
Well, the Aeromyth shows, like I said, we're going to be here till August 26th. You can go to the Facebook/Aeromyth. That's our Facebook page, and I think we're going to have a website. It's just aeromyth.com. I think that's going to be on there too. You can look that up. But all of our dates are going to be all on the Facebook page, if they're not already. And there's a lot of pictures and a lot of cool stuff on there about the band. It's a great band, great bunch of guys. Everybody favors the guy that they're portraying, so it's really good. You know, people kind of like come up to us after the show and they go, dude, if I stand back and you guys look just like the real band, you know, and that's great. You know, you guys sound just like the real band. You look like the real band. And, you know, it's hard playing that role because it's like being an actor. It's just like trying to play Abraham Lincoln in a role on TV. You know, it'd be really hard to do that, to portray it accurately. And, it's the same way with being in a tribute band. You have to portray the artist accurately, and looks is important, and the way you play is important. You're playing somebody else's part, and it's not yourself, of course, but that's what you've got to do. You know, you're playing a role, just like an actor, basically. But it's a little harder to be an actor because you're not only acting, you're actually playing a musical instrument at the same time. So you're doing two different things. It's fun though. I love doing it. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to conduct this interview for us, and for people
it's my pleasure.
And for people that haven't seen Aeromyth, you need to go out and check them out for sure. I mean, they're getting a lot of attention and definitely rocking the Aerosmith world up. And if you love,
you know, we're friends with those guys. You know, our singer Chris Van Dahl, he's good friends with Tyler, and you know, Tyler, you know, likes what we're doing. You know, he supports it. So, you know, that's key right there.
Oh yeah,
he likes what we're doing. So to him, it's like, you know, it's. I don't know. I guess it's flattering. If anybody tries to emulate what you do, it's flattering. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. If you got a guy that wants to dress like you do, you go, wow, you get flattered by that. So,
oh yeah,
it starts with simple things like that, you know. And we're going to be here. We're going to be here until August 26th at Canopy Lake Park in Salem, New Hampshire, and for the 2 months. Every day, 2 shows a day starting on Wednesday. The Wednesday the 11th, I think, July 11th. We'll be here. And then we're playing 3 shows now, but with the heat and all that stuff, they want to cut it down to 2. So that's fine with me. But we'll be here, and then from here we go back to the West Coast. So we'll be over there on the West Coast playing a lot of shows up and down the West Coast. We got a lot of stuff going on, so.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, would you mind introducing the band other than Chris and yourself?
Yeah, we got Chris Van Dahl. He plays the Steven Tyler part. Frankie Wills, he plays the Joe Perry part. Our drummer's name is Joey Grillo. He plays the Joey Kramer part. And I'm doing the Tom Hamilton part, Tony Cavazo, Tom Hamilton. And Brad Whitford's played by Neil Shelton.
Wow. You know, Frankie plays with Steven Tyler, or Stephen Piercy. Stephen Piercy, and Jesus. Chris used to play with L.A. Guns many years ago.
L.A. Guns, that's right. Yeah.
Yes, I remember these names. They have their
everybody's got a history, you know.
Everybody's
got a good, strong history.
Oh yeah, strong history, which hopefully translate into a strong following.
Yeah, it does. You know, we've been really pushing our Facebook page, and everybody's always sharing. We get a lot of freaking views and shares and stuff like that. And just that alone it really helps us out a lot. And word of mouth too. You know, we're always kind and, you know, to the fans. We want to talk to them and we shake their hand and let them take pictures. And, you know, we don't get, you know, uptight about that kind of stuff like some people might, but it's good. You know, they love you. We will love them back. You know, we want to love them back. So no matter who they are, you know, we get a lot of different kinds of people that come up and want to shake our hands, and that's great. I love it.
Well, again, thank you very much for taking the time to conduct this interview. I really appreciate it very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Robert, and I'll keep in touch.
I will. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
Take it easy.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.